to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host, Letitia Nesby. On today's segment, the issue in focus is empowering self-esteem through education. Many children struggle with self-esteem, specifically children of color. Today, Analise Harris is our special guest with us to discuss the importance of educating and empowering children to love themselves for who they are. Analise, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm an educator. I am a special education teacher, and I'm going to my 5th year teaching. I have been in Colorado for 6 years and still enjoy teaching and definitely working with kids.
Awesome. Your organization is called Curls on the Block. How did that organization come into being?
Well, it began as a capstone project in my pursuit of a master's in education. I had to create a program for kids at my school, so I was full-time teaching and full-time in school. And as the capstone started as just an all-girls group, and then expanded into the classroom as a kind of Pinterest-based or internet-based activities and different fun bonding. It went into another girls group after school with just a couple of events throughout the semester, and I had girls, like 30 girls, 10 parents, community members, all participating and then asking for more. So I decided to create a curriculum that would sustain for a whole semester. And so I could have a sustainable group of students who were staying after school and participating in this curriculum. And so Curls on the Block was created, and now I'm offering it to the community and not just the schools that I'm working in. And it's been really a great experience and journey.
Well, wonderful. Well, let's talk about the foundational pillars of Curls on the Block. So why is there perception that curly hair is bad? And what do we mean by curly hair?
So I always felt like that was a loaded question as far as, curly hair being perceived as bad, because a lot of times it's still it's a fetish for some people. Bigger is better, and oh, can I touch it? And, everyone loves curly hair who doesn't grow it naturally.
Right.
So when I say curly, I'm definitely referring to ringlets, I'm referring to kinky, I'm referring to not naturally straight hair.
Okay. So being born with the hair that has a type or texture of just very curly, very tight, naturally.
Exactly.
Okay. So how does that impact, how does the impact of media destroy children's self-esteem, specifically children of color with the curly hair?
I think that it stems from some historical laws that were in place in the United States.
Let's talk about those.
So in the United States, after slavery was in place and even no longer legal, we had people of color existing. And so when you have to live in a community with whites and blacks, well, there's going to be some laws and restrictions that are put into place to still maintain, some expectations in the community. One of the laws that was created in Louisiana is called the Tinyon Laws, and it actually was a mandate that women of color and who had curly hair had to cover their hair. So a lot of times you could think of modern day bandanas. However, Black women are very resourceful, and women with curly hair definitely knew how to make the most of what they were being expected to do. So when it started as something negative, which created that low self-esteem and shame when you have to cover something that's naturally part of you, they created fabrics that were very beautiful and tied them on top of their hair in elaborate designs and folds, which became actually another problem. But at the end of the day, they still had to cover their hair. And we see in the United States history that later on in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the afro became a sign of rebellion, and it was a political statement. And now here in the 2000s, we have seen full circle the natural hair movement coming back, and it's no longer necessarily a political statement unless you want it to be.
Right.
But it's also not, it's no longer seen as, if you wear your hair straight, something you're trying to assimilate. We're really seeing a full embracing of who you are and what you want or what you like. So if you wear your hair curly one day and straight the next, it's not to assimilate, and it's not because you're mad at the
government.
Government, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So, however, yes, we see all of these trends now. However, kids are still having to live day to day. So we're seeing the 20-somethings really embracing it and above. But when you're a teenager, a tween, 7-year-old, you're looking for role models. And we still have a lack of representation of women with curly hair in the media. Because you can embrace who you are and do whatever you want with your hair, people who have curly hair still might be choosing to have straight hair or longer extensions, and kids are not able to actually differentiate what's real and what's fake or what's enhanced, and so they are inundated with actually media,
different images
all the time. And we have some impressionable kids. What do girls, and we can focus on girls, 7 through 16 care about the most?
I would say they most care about their appearance or boys.
Exactly. Yes, they kind of go hand in hand, right? But exactly, when you're caring about your looks, where do you go? And
you go to magazines, television.
Yes, and we have figures now: Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, Twiggy, even in the 50s and 60s. The retro look was back, but even in their times, in those specific eras, we had what was considered beautiful. So we went from being stick thin, being beautiful, and nothing else, to now voluptuous.
Right.
And kids are neither really.
Right.
They're in between, or even if you are stick figure in what's now the voluptuous era, you have to be able to be comfortable with who you are and what you look like. But kids are struggling, and they're very impressionable right now, and the media definitely has a huge role in that.
So, Analise, we talk about the problems of just accepting yourself for who you are, looking in the mirror with whether your hair is kinky, tightly woven, long curl. As we talk about the solution, so what is Curls on the Block doing to help with that?
Well, I think that Curls on the Block's mission being to attract young girls of all curls and colors to embrace, explore, and empower their natural selves really sets the tone. So for me, that's the focus. When I'm talking to parents, when I'm talking to my school administration or people in the community, my focus is that young girls see themselves and accept who they are. And that doesn't just come in a day or a session. Oh, I love myself now, I can wear my hair curly. Yeah, it's a process. And that was why I created a semester-long program, because the changes happen subtly or dramatically. And as an educator, you see kids and their good days and their bad days. They see you as well.
Right.
And, I saw things in the education system that I wanted to address, and I couldn't always use school time to do that, because there's laws and regulations of what I can talk about, and making sure that every student feels comfortable. So incidents where girls of color are kind of targeted for wearing bandanas or wearing a hoodie over their head, they end up getting suspensions because of their outright refusal to take it off. And it's based on low self-esteem because of their hair.
Right.
And so as an educator, I make sure I have brushes, combs, hair gel, headbands. I make sure I have all of these things because I am trying to step in the places that I can to help these girls feel comfortable and empower them. Yes.
Well, not only does Curls on the Block work with self-esteem, but you also bring in what I like to call that STEAM piece. Tell us about that.
Well, science, technology, engineering, art, and math are all fields that bring in a lot of money as an adult if you look into that field. And right now, according to some websites and statistics that are out there, we have women representing less than 5% of the population in those career fields. And if we know less than 5% are women, we can already assume women of color are even fewer.
In that 5%.
Yes, in that 5%.
Right.
So Curls on the Block explicitly addresses and builds a bridge in between what girls 7 and 6 through 16 care about, which is their looks, to seeing who they could be in the future,
like that.
and building that bridge in STEAM, excuse me. And it's really, really fun to have girls make that connection and see light bulbs going off. So, hey, when you're wearing a wig, which this is one of the wigs that kids could make, you're becoming an engineer. You're engineering this, you know. And when you start with all raw materials like honey and sugar and olive oil, and you're making a new product, that's science, and also some engineering and math, of course. When you're posting to YouTube the results of your product working or not, that's using technology. And so it's really important for girls to make that connection that you're already doing this stuff. Don't be scared in class, you know, don't shy away from, you know, these science projects. And in fact, with Curls on the Block, during that semester curriculum, science fair went on, and I had 2 girls who were in the program actually do science projects based off of the needs of the curly hair community.
That's so awesome.
So they compared products and had their family testing out all of these products and decided which was best for their hair type. And then other girls did surveys on how the media impacts what they believe is beautiful. So straight from the curriculum, these girls were hitting the ground running. And this was 6th grade. So I was really, really impressed. And the high schoolers, they actually can become session leaders. So they're leading conversations about hair, about what is appropriate. As a lawyer, can you wear, you know, a rock star hairdo? Probably not, but why is that? And just having those conversations, I've seen these girls go from being very mousy and covering their hair to transforming and blooming. Bold.
Speaking out.
Yes, one girl shaved off half of her head and had a design in it, and her mom was like, yes, I'm just going to let her do it because she's accepted who she is.
Herself.
Yes, and it went from a girl who wouldn't talk. So now she is blossom, had her hoodie on, and now she's no longer, she's wearing hoodies. She's not ashamed, and she was really excited. She was in a hair show and modeling, and so the girls really show improvement and show that they're learning. I don't force girls, you know, force information down their throat. I offer resources.
Speaking of resources, how can someone at home empower their young person? They might be of not in the minority culture, but have a family member who is of ethnicity, right?
Yes.
So as we close, with only a few seconds left, just look in that camera and speak to that mom, that grandma, and tell them how they can empower their young person and where they can reach you for further information.
Awesome. So I'll start with that. You can find curlsontheblock.com on Facebook. It's on other internet websites. And if you're a parent with a kid who's struggling with their self-esteem, right now the internet is a huge resource. Use YouTube, filter it, and you know, look at the videos with your child. Use the people in the schools, use the adults that the kids are interacting with, and create that community for them, and have the kids voice what is their biggest concern. Look out at the libraries. They're having events. Look into the community. There's tons of events going on all the time in Denver, Aurora, Colorado Springs. And, you know, also have those tough conversations and have the conversation if your child is being bullied. It can happen from people who look like them or people who don't. And it's just important to make sure you create a safe space for your child.
Analise, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Letitia Nesby. We'll see you right here next time at Joy in Our Town. Have a great day.
"7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.
Welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host, Letitia Nesby. On today's segment, the issue in focus is education. Many young people are struggling throughout Colorado just to get an education. They're struggling with the bare necessities: food, water, shelter. Here with us today to discuss that is Laura Conti with the Boys Hope, Girls Hope. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So today, Laura, tell us about yourself and how you came to Boys Hope, Girls Hope.
I'm a former teacher. I taught in the Denver Public Schools, and when I decided to look for a new opportunity, a teaching colleague of mine introduced me to Boys Hope, Girls Hope, and it's a way for me to serve students in a different way, support them through middle school and high school, and then all the way through college.
Well, what is the mission of Boys Hope, Girls Hope?
Well, we help highly capable and motivated students reach their full potential and become men and women for others. And we do that by, providing support through secondary school and all the way through college education, by providing opportunities for them, and in some cases providing, a family-like, value-centered home environment for those in our residential program.
So who are these children that lack access to high-quality education?
Well, for the most part, it's low-income students, students from high-risk backgrounds, which includes low-income students who are often in schools in our low-income neighborhoods, which are our most underperforming schools in the state. So within those communities, there are highly motivated and highly capable kids who love school and who really yearn for academic achievement. I mean, that their goal is to be high achievers and go to college. And we're just trying to make sure that they have the opportunities they need and the skills they need and the knowledge they need. Or often are trying to make their families meet present day needs and have to work 35 hours a week.
On top of going to school.
On top of going to school. So that is a risk factor for them because it could pull them away from education. And so they have to gratify needs right now rather than delaying that gratification and being able to invest in themselves and their education in order to be higher earners.